eating healthy is so important, and it really makes a big difference in your life. Thank you all for coming to our amazing cooking class. What's cooking today?
Today, anyway, by the way, guys, my name's Allison, and I'll be helping out today. I'm one of the dietitians here in the cancer hospital. Today, we're actually doing a focus, oncology focus. We're going to be talking a little bit about head and neck cancers. But of course, if you don't have one of those cancers, you'll still benefit from the class today and learn how to cook the recipes. So today we're going to be making two awesome recipes, bread pudding and cheesy grits. So they're both soft foods that are really good comfort foods for, patients going through these head and neck cancers. They're soft, easy to tolerate comfort foods. You can make them higher in calorie or lower in calorie, but often if you're going through head and neck cancer, sometimes they like to go for the higher calorie things because they're not able to eat as much. But we'll just be talking a little bit about the different kinds of head and neck cancers. I'll kind of introduce that. And then we'll make the recipes. So
yes, and today, Allison, we have really great information. So on the handout, you're gonna find how to make healthy casserole, and our dietitian, of course, she's gonna go through all this stuff because she prepared this for you. Instead of use certain other ingredients, which I think this is awesome. When I saw it, I was like, this I'm gonna take home so I can actually use it as well. But today, the two recipes that we are presenting today are from Holly Clegg's cookbooks, and they're very simple recipes.
Yeah.
Right? When I was making the bread pudding, Florentine, Florentine is because it's from Italy, right? From a city in Florence. And it's just fancy. That's why I wanted to do something fancy because the recipe kind of like sounds a little fancy. It is really, really simple with ingredients that we usually have at home. As you can see here, we using some eggs, some egg whites, some milk. Whether if you're doing high calorie, if you want to go higher in calories, they can utilize cream, right?
Yep.
So cream will be good, but if you want to go low calorie, of course, skimmed milk will be kind of like the perfect ingredient for this. We're also utilizing Dijon mustard, salt and pepper to taste, spinach. And the spinach, I know that on the recipe it calls for frozen spinach. When you just kind of like in a hurry, but if you have fresh spinach, I always have fresh spinach at home. You can definitely do this, but I would recommend that you cook the spinach before all the other ingredients and kind of like take all the get the water out with a paper towel and put it aside. That's exactly what I did with mine. They're fresh instead of utilizing the frozen ones. Of course, we have some onions, garlic, mushrooms, and for the cheese, I was going to ask our dietitian today. I didn't get my Swiss cheese, so therefore I did a combination of low-fat mozzarella and some Parmesan cheese. I did a combination of those two. You can do either one, but you can do a combination and just doing like, how much cheese are we using for this?
For the bread pudding?
We are
1.5 cups.
So you can do 1 cup if you want to go low calories, right? Or you can do 1.5, a combination of those two that I just mentioned. And just a little bit of flour to get some really nice thicken. We're going to thicken the sauce with this. So just 1 teaspoon or tablespoon of flour, and you can absolutely utilize some whole wheat, right? So let's go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Because you're going to help me, Alice.
I will help you.
Yes. So let's go ahead and get our fire going. You know what? I'm going to move this because I'm going to use one of my other saute pans. Just because when I'm in a hurry and I'm chopping all the veggies and I'm cooking something over here, I like to just move it around like that instead of looking for the spoon, right? So if you want to get closer to me, because I have some extra olive oil here.
Okay.
And we're going to go ahead and get started with that. You can add some in there. Just,
Hold of it.
Let me, I can transfer more over here.
Okay.
No problem. I didn't tell you, right?
No.
Just have a teaspoon. Let me flip it. There. Okay.
All right.
We're just going to coat it a little bit. Let's put it over here. So when I do my cooking stuff, I always tell my producer, I'm like, just a teaspoon of olive oil, because it happens all the time. She puts like the whole thing of olive oil. I'm like, Let's change it a little bit.
Yeah, we're not frying it here.
Okay, so that's good. So we have some onions here.
Okay.
And I was thinking for the onions, of course, you can do red onions. I love red onions because when you caramelize them, or even the yellow onions, whatever you have available. So we're going to put some onions in there.
Should we put all of them in there?
All
Okay.
of them. For that, we can do all of them. Yes. She's like, can I do the whole thing? That's not as bad as the oil. So
All right. And then you want to let
we're going to do some mushrooms.
Okay. And it's always nice to let the oil heat up a little bit too, and then before you put them in there.
Absolutely.
As well, right?
And what I was going to say, if keep in mind that mushrooms have a lot of water, so therefore you do want to caramelize this really, really well, so you won't create more moisture whenever you put this in the oven, right? So that's going to be cooking pretty soon. I can see the red stuff going on. We have more mushrooms.
Okay.
Is that okay?
The more the merrier.
Yes.
Black mushrooms are excellent for you. They have
Excellent.
tons of cancer-fighting compounds, and they're high in antioxidants. They're high in selenium, and they're actually really high in vitamin D. They're the only vegan source of vitamin D.
Oh, wow. Seriously.
So most vitamin D comes from like eggs, milk, the sun, but mushrooms are actually a vegan source of vitamin D.
Wow. And I have one of my favorite tools. They used to not be my favorite one because I don't want to do this.
The garlic. I've never seen. That's so cool.
Isn't it nice?
I've never seen that before. I need to get me one of those.
Julie likes it. Julie likes it because you don't have to chop
No,
the
I
garlic.
know. I need to get one of those. That's awesome.
And so we want the essential oils from the garlic because that's where you find the goodness, right?
Yes.
The benefits. So I do it like this. And then back of the knife is what we're using so you don't mess up your knife.
Where did you get that?
You know what?
I'm gonna get one.
You can find it in almost any store that have an aisle with kitchen tools.
I've never seen that. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So get you a really good one because sometimes you can put like 3 garlic cloves, and if you get a cheap one, it's not gonna work. This one is I've been having this for a while already, and I really like it.
Yeah.
So I don't waste anything. So this garlic that was actually in there, I just take it out and chop it away. This is pretty much the skin. So the skin is still good of the garlic, right? It has the benefits as well, not just the oil. So we're gonna do this. So that's why I like this, just because we can keep some fresh garlic, right? Instead of getting the little containers. I find that there's no benefit because they lose the benefit, right? The garlic, when you buy them, like kind of like the lemon juice and
The ones in
lime
the
juice.
refrigerated. I
Yes.
think it keeps it up to I think it does still have benefits.
Oh.
The ones that if they're packed in the oil in the refrigerator
Okay.
for fresh garlic.
I
mean, dried garlic in the containers probably don't.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's still fresh garlic in the
You know what? I think it's because I feel that I don't know if you try this at home already, but if you do the ones in the container versus the fresh one, the smell and the flavor is totally different. It is so different, especially the smell, right, of the garlic.
Yeah.
So that's why I love to have just fresh garlic.
Mhm.
Oh, that's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So at this point, you just want to caramelize the mushrooms. In the meantime, I'm going to get me a little bowl over here because we're going to get our liquid stuff ready, which is 5 eggs, whole eggs with the whole thing in it. Some yolks, right? 4.
And that's going to increase the protein of this dish
Oh, absolutely.
significantly.
Yes.
Eggs.
And when I do this, when I'm going to mix it with the milk, I usually just break the eggs before I add the milk so that I don't have to be digging for the eggs, right? Because the milk kind of like covers them. So just break them and just whisk. I love this. I love it when somebody's helping me over here and I'm doing over here. It feels really good. Okay, so we mix really good, and then we add the milk. Now, for this recipe, you can do overnight whenever you marinating the bread overnight. or soaking the bread overnight, or you can do 30 minutes to even 2 hours. I would do overnight if you can, because that saves you a lot of work the next day. You just put it in the oven, especially if it's going to be for brunch, so you don't have to spend time in the morning while you can do other stuff, right? So milk goes in here. More
So
milk.
with the new theme, with the oncology focus, we're kind of talking about a different cancer every month. And then, like I said, today's class is head and neck. So I was going to talk a little bit about risk factors of head and neck cancer and how some ways to prevent it, and just kind of talk about that, since that's the theme of that's the spotlight of our oncology focus today. So head and neck cancer is cancer that actually starts in the tissues of the organs of the head and neck. So cancers like cancer of the larynx, which is the voice box, the throat, nose, lip, mouth, salivary glands. There's several patients that can get cancer in those areas. Some major risk factors for that includes smoking, alcohol abuse, and then HPV virus can increase your risk. Alcohol and tobacco are actually the two most important risk factors. So at least 75% of head and neck cancer patients have a history of alcohol or tobacco abuse. So those are two major risk factors for that. Some other risk factors, preserved and salted foods is actually a very minor, but not as much as alcohol or tobacco use. And then there's also been found occupational exposure to wood dust has been shown to increase your risk for nasopharyngeal cancer. And then some symptoms of it is like a lump or a sore throat that never goes away, just difficulty, painful swallowing, and then you can get white or red patches in the mouth. And then treatment is it depends on the patient and what kind of cancer it is, but can be anywhere from surgery, removing the tumor, chemo, radiation, or a combination of all of them. So when patients are undergoing chemo or therapy, it's really hard for them to swallow. I mean, imagine getting surgery. Some patients do have to get feeding tubes where they have to do a liquid diet. But most, pretty lucky and are able to get by with following a soft diet. So these recipes are from Holly Clegg's Cancer Fighting Kitchen Cookbook. And they're just soft comfort food recipes. You can make them high in calorie, because a lot of these patients do have to follow high calorie, soft food diets. So that's kind of where we got our inspiration for choosing these recipes today, was just the focus of the head and neck cancer. And then, of course, we have ways to increase calories and then as well as decrease calories if you don't need a high calorie diet, because not everybody does. So that's why today is kind of beneficial for everybody, regardless if you need
Absolutely.
a high calorie
and
or
I
low
like
calorie diet.
The resource that you given everyone to use certain ingredients or to not to use certain ingredients, right? Depending on what your need is, whether if you want to go lower calorie or higher calorie. That was great information. So I have a teaspoon of flour here.
Okay, do we need more liquid?
We're just gonna kind of like get it all together.
Okay.
And what we want to do is just incorporate the flour with those ingredients, kind of like mixing it all together, because the next step will be to have a nice little pan. And you know what? You can actually bake this in your favorite oven dish. Something that you can actually just put in the middle of the table and it's going to look beautiful, instead of transferring the food to different plates, right? So I think this is a really cute one. So I put some bread, one layer of bread, and then before we do anything else, we're going to I have a spoon here. And so if you want to get that, I'm going to give you like, how about if I give you this? That way you can transfer that here. That way you can have all your ingredients. Let me turn it off. There we go. And then I'm going to put it here for you. Okay. So make it easier. Good job. Okay, right. So, because we're creating some layers here, okay? So, this looks so yummy, right? If it didn't have the flour, I would definitely just eat it as a side dish. So delicious. Yeah. It smells so good. Okay, so we put some on top. Allison, like you can see here, how beautiful it looks, huh?
I know. So good.
And then we're just going to do half, because we're going to do the other half. So, I'm going to put this aside. And then we do have other great ingredients, which is cheese, right?
Yeah, and you could do any cheese you wanted. Cheddar, provolone, any cheese you wanted.
Yes.
Are we
Yeah, go
layering
ahead,
it?
go ahead. So we're doing mozzarella and we're doing Parmesan cheese. Excellent. And now we are. I was gonna mention if you don't want to make layers, 2 layers or 3 layers, definitely keep it as one, and I think it's gonna be wonderful. Because if you're looking to do lower calorie, I would definitely recommend that you do 1 layer and just put all this mixture on top of the bread, 1 layer, and then you can do the egg, maybe half. So utilize less ingredients. I'm gonna get some more bread, which I have over here, and I'll let you mention some of the things about. Are you gonna talk about?
Yeah,
anything in particular?
to make it a little bit lighter, you could probably use more egg whites, skim milk. If you're trying to make it higher calorie, you can use cream or all whole eggs or egg yolks by themselves. You can cut the cheese in half, like she was saying. Another thing that actually Holly suggested with this recipe, if you need more protein, you're trying to bump up the protein, you can add ground meat to this recipe. So you could add a nice ground lean turkey and make it more of a meal with a meat if you wanted an all-in-one casserole. That's always a good idea. And then it's a one dish dinner or brunch. This is also a good brunch recipe too.
Man, I would definitely just keep it like this. I love
yeah.
veggie stuff. And I'm not so big on beef and meat and anything like that. So the mushrooms really give that kind of like sense of meaty flavor kind of dish, right?
Exactly.
So look how beautiful this looks, right? So instead of adding the cheese, I'm going to go ahead and put the egg first, and then I'm going to add some cheese. And we're going to let it overnight. I'm sorry? This is the first time you put the egg. Yeah, this is at the very end so that, you create the layers first and then you put the egg mixture on top.
Do you want me to put the oven up to 3? Or
Yeah, and you know what? We have some already in there. Do you mind
right.
taking it out so
Sure.
we can see how it looks?
Take it.
The magic of the oven. This is a magical oven, huh? It is really on, so
Yes,
here.
where's the mid side?
This time, I'm not going to act like it's just too magical. Wow.
no.
We used to have some, let me do this. I can
Oh, you
check
got it
out
with the
this.
napkins?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little more.
You got the other gloves
My-
on, so.
My grandbaby told me this weekend on Sunday. I had the
Turn
kids come over, and she was. I said, let's make some cookies. So they came out of the oven, and she was like so excited. I said, get the ice cream ready. So she's like, you think they're ready, Grandma? And I said, I think they're ready. So let me check. So I grab it with my hand out of the oven, the cookie, and I went like this, and she's like, oh my goodness, how did you do that? She was so excited. She's like, one day I'm gonna be able to do that. I said, yeah, I don't recommend that you do it right now. This is not good teaching for you because it's really, really hot. And then later on the day, she kept saying, I'm so amazed with what you did with the cookie. And she was going on and on. I said, please don't do it. Don't do it at home because your mom is going to call me and say, why are you teaching my daughter to grab all this hot stuff out of the oven? But I don't want to get
No,
with
yeah.
that.
I probably would have burned myself.
And she asked me, she said, how? And I said, when you're a chef, you're used to it. You get used to the heat and
Calluses, yeah.
cold and stuff like that. You're like, oh, man, that sounds pretty scary.
So if you're ever in a hurry, does this have to be refrigerated overnight, or can you ever just make it right away?
I would definitely make it right away.
Oh, rather than letting it soak overnight
Absolutely.
and then okay.
You don't even
what would be
have-
the difference? Like how
The
would
difference is you're going to get the bread to soak up, get all the flavors and stuff like that, but it's not a big difference. I mean, bread pudding is just leftover stuff that you can put together, but when you get the bread really nice and moist, it's going to get really nice and puffy, right? If not, it's just going to be a little more crispy.
Okay.
But not a big difference that you're going to notice.
Okay.
So we're going to put this in the oven
All
at
right.
350.
350 for
Yes. For about
45 minutes,
Okay.
or until puffed and golden. Just kind of watch
Yeah,
it.
and just keep in mind, if you're doing 1 layer, you do not want to cook it 25. I mean, not 40 minutes.
Yeah.
50. It's way too much. Kind of like keep an eye on it, and maybe it's gonna take you like 20 minutes, 25 the most. So this is gonna go in the oven, and we're really gonna bake this because this is on
Yeah.
anyways. Okay, so
It's so beautiful.
it looks really nice. So
And
you
then
bring it out of the oven, and so
I'll look up what time it is.
of course, we make a lot here because you want to try it, right?
Oh, it's beautiful.
So it looks really, really nice. Look how beautiful this looks. So, of course, there's something missing here because I did my presentation. Don't think Allison ate some before.
Nah.
It was not Allison. Okay, so
All right.
you can definitely, I'm going to cut, I can cut a little
We're doing
square.
now? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to get a plate. Let's get a little fancy here. If we, even with the black, yeah.
Mhm.
You can cut a square, and of course it's going to look nice, whatever. Too plain, right?
Mhm.
But if you cut it, oh, this looks
Cheesy
so good.
casserole.
Yes. So look how beautiful this looks. And if it's really, really hot, you have to wait a little bit to do the presentation. Otherwise, it's just going to go down.
Mhm.
But it smells so good, doesn't it?
Yes, it smells so good. I can't wait to try it.
I'm not teasing you. It really smells really good. So we can serve it like that, of course.
But the
And-
portion for what you were asking may be smaller than this. So whenever you may have
Aw.
to do the recipe and then kind of look at what 10 servings would be. So what we just made was the recipe. So if you were to kind of slice that like a pie and eat like 1/10, that would be the serving of the 32. So it's really about portion control. Mm-hmm.
Portion control. Unfortunately, yes. But if you eat a little bit and then 30 minutes later you eat more, is that okay? Yes.
What did you do in between those 45 minutes?
Maybe 30. I go walking for
Yeah.
because it looks really, really good. Okay, so are we ready to go to the next recipe, or you have any questions regarding this recipe? For the bread, of course, you can do, I mean, I don't know if you would approve certain breads, right? Or bread is bread.
I think everything in moderation. It's really just about portion control. So I don't restrict.
The 9-grain will be good
Mm-hmm.
because it's nice and thick, right?
But you don't want to ruin the taste of the dish because
You're right.
it's only a little bit healthier. Bread is bread, really. So you're gonna gain.
We're gonna keep it like this. Perfect.
And when our focus today was the oncology focus for the head and neck cancer, sometimes the lower fiber, the higher calorie, that is better for them at the point that they're at. So
Good.
it really depends on the person and the individual.
And if I want to make it for me, since I'm going low calorie, I do 1 layer, and I'm gonna do whole wheat. Right? She approved this for me. Okay, so we have some chicken broth,
Mm.
low sodium, and this one comes. The way we order this in the kitchen is like a paste. Now they have it as nice and it's really intense, so you need to use a little less when you mix it with the water. So as long as it's low sodium, it should be fine, right? Okay, so we have milk, and on the recipe, I know that. Under the ingredient list, it doesn't mention milk and water, but that's another choice that you can do. You can do either chicken broth, milk, or water. Those 3 are
Interchangeable. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. You can do either one, right? So for this recipe, we are utilizing 4 cups of fat-free chicken broth. Of course, you can do 2 chicken broth and 1 milk and 1 water, or you can do all chicken broth, or you can do all water, or you can just, and what I was thinking is not all milk, just because we're already going to add some cheese. It's going to be way too much. So maybe do a combination of the chicken broth and milk, or milk and water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so excellent. 4 ingredients. This is so awesome. So we're going to
Very
move
easy.
this over there,
Okay.
but I'm going to move it because it's hot.
Yep.
Put it here. And for the grits, I'm going to use this other nice, beautiful saute pan. Let's just clean up a little bit here. And do you do this when you're cooking like me? Are you kind of crazy like me? My mom is like, we're going to clean when
As
we're
we
done. I'm
go.
like, Mom, I cannot cook if something is around my pan. So, am I the only crazy person?
No,
Allison?
no, I clean as I go.
Okay, good.
I try.
Okay, we put
On
it
high?
high
Okay.
right now. Just okay. So we're gonna do chicken broth. This is 3 cups, right? And I would definitely keep it if you want to do vegetarian, of course, you can do vegetable broth, which that's usually what I use at home instead of the chicken one. But if you want to make it, I think that's wonderful. When you have chicken breast cooking, add a bunch of fresh herbs, carrots, onions, celery, and make your own and save it. I think because you're controlling the sodium. You know how much salt you're adding. I usually don't add any salt, so that whenever I cook with my chicken broth, I can just utilize a little bit at a time to prevent from eating a lot of sodium. Okay, so this is nice and hot already. So the grits are like super easy to make, right?
They're so fast, yeah.
Do you make them at
Do
home?
you have to boil this first, or how do you recommend?
boil? Yeah.
Okay.
Magic TV, I thought we could do that. So for this, we are using 3 of the chicken. Do you want to do some milk?
Sure.
Okay. Well,
I'm
there's
sure it'll
3,
be creamy.
and then. And in order for this to get to a boiling point, we need to cover it because we are going to create some heat.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna sit here forever,
Yes,
right?
a wash pot never boils.
And my daughter asked me that one time, and I said, put the water ready for the pasta. So she's like, Mom, this is taking forever. I was doing other stuff, and I said, I wonder why it's taking forever. You didn't cover the pot. She's like, I didn't know you're supposed to cover it. I said, yes. It'll speed up the process of the water getting really nice and hot. You're like, wow, I didn't even know. It's something so simple and I didn't even know. So you learn as you go in the kitchen, right? So as soon as it comes to a boil, that's when we add in the grits.
Okay.
If we want to do polenta instead of grits, would that be a good option as well?
Yeah,
Right?
it's still corn and made from corn. I believe.
Different corns is my understanding, but it's the same process. So if you like polenta instead of grits, go for it. Or if not, I mean, this is much less expensive, right?
I think, and polenta is
think
more
so.
firm. Like it's
Yes.
more of like a stable dish. Grits is more runny, like oatmeal. I think
Okay.
polenta is more like that kind of consistency. I believe.
More like this?
Yeah, it's more firm.
Do you like using it? I like grits because you can do savory and sweet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've never really made grits. I'm more of an oatmeal person in the morning. So you could. I was also thinking if you ever were vegan or if you were trying to cook for a vegan friend, you could also make this a vegan dish by using the vegetable broth, the grits, and instead of using cheese, you can use nutritional yeast. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No.
It actually has a cheese flavor, but it's vegan and it's
wow.
nutritional yeast. Yeah. It's an orange and it gives that orange color too. So that's
So
something
is
to
it
look
on
into.
the where the cheese and the milk and all that stuff is?
It's you get it at like Sprouts or at specialty foods. I think it would be in with dry staples.
Okay.
So, but yeah, nutritional yeast is a good way to add cheese flavor to dishes, and it has all the amino acids. It's has all the amino acids you need.
Does it taste almost the same or not really?
No, not. I mean, it tastes quite close. Like you can make mac and cheese with nutritional yeast.
I was gonna ask because my
Yeah.
daughter loves cheese, but I don't know if I can replace the cheese for that. If she doesn't taste the cheese flavor, I don't know if she's gonna go for it.
Yeah.
But maybe we can try,
You can
right?
go ahead.
Okay, let's add it here. So what I was thinking, if you're making a savory dish such as this, we can absolutely add some fresh herbs. I'm really into fresh herbs. Instead of adding salt and pepper, we can do some good herbs in here, right?
Yes.
So we are going to use some yellow cheese. If, let's say, I don't want to do yellow cheese because I've heard it is higher in fat than the white one. Is that true?
A trace, just a trace.
Not a lot?
Not as much, no. Swiss is going to be obviously your lightest one, but it's 2 gram difference maybe. It's not worth.
So Swiss will be a good one for this too, right?
Mhm. Oh,
Whatever
yeah.
cheese you want to use.
This will probably add the most flavor.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, and then whenever this is ready,
Mhm.
we can cover it. That way we can speed
Okay.
up the process. But I have this plate here. Let me put my herbs over here. And when I saw it, I'm like, man, this is perfect for my presentation for the grits. It will look really pretty, right? And of course, you can do a little bit of cheese, just a little bit.
Mhm.
And
It's
maybe,
protein.
yes, and since we were using a little bit of like herbs, maybe you want to do just one on top like that. Because it'll look too plain if you don't, right? You want something green. I was thinking other ingredients that we can definitely incorporate on this. When I was making this recipe, I was thinking caramelized red onions or caramelized shallots. What about a combination of red bell peppers with onions? That would look really pretty as
That would
well,
be
right?
good. Yeah. Add a little
Um,
bit of kick to it.
Absolutely, I think so too. What are the veggies you think you like to add on this? Yeah, it's topping. Even remember the mixture that I said this will be a great side dish, like the spinach with the mushrooms and the onions. That would be awesome to put on top of this recipe. What else? Zucchini. Any veggie that you can just saute really quick saute like spinach takes no. I mean, you can make it at no time. You can absolutely add it on top for extra benefits, for extra, not so much calories, but it'll be healthier,
Yeah,
right?
add more vegetables, add more color. It's always the more color the better. But
Yes.
this by itself, it's just such a nice dish for, as we were featuring like the head and neck cancer patients. It's just such a good, nice, soft, easy to swallow, comfort, easy food, but turned into comfort food just by adding chicken broth, a little bit of milk and cheese. It just turns it into such a nice dish rather than just eating grits or oatmeal, or something plain. Just little tweaks that make their day better, make their food more comforting for them.
And if you make it the day before, if you're like a caregiver or for yourself and you're going to eat it the next day, because it makes a lot, maybe add a little bit of milk or chicken broth, the same one that you use, put it in the microwave just so it can get a different texture, like more creamier texture, instead of being a little thick. And I think it'll be a good option, right? So how is this looking?
It's looking boiling away.
So let's see if we mix it. So, yep.
Oops.
It kind of looks like you have to mix it.
Yeah. I wonder.
Yeah.
Sticking to the bottom.
Smells like grits.
Well,
Can you
except
smell
for the
how
little-
wonderful?
Well.
What a big difference the herbs made on this recipe. Can y'all smell that? It's so wonderful. That looks amazing. And so you know what? They look almost ready. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take advantage of that to put some on top of this, right? It's looking pretty good, Chef. Yeah, well, we want to mix it really, really good.
And I think, the more you stir it, the probably better, because it probably will stick to the bottom if you let it sit a little bit long. So you do want to continue to stir it.
I'm going to turn it off because this looks pretty ready. Oh, it smells so good. Wonderful. I'm going to cover the whole thing because this texture is really, really nice. This dish smells like a rainy day at home.
So comforting.
My son is really funny. One time I was making a pumpkin bread. It was not even the holidays. It was probably September. And then my niece was there at the house, and he's like, man, it smells like the holidays at my mom's, and she liked the holidays. Because she never really, her mom never cooked with those spices and stuff like that, so she was confused. She's like, what do the holidays smell like? And he's like, cinnamon, nutmeg.
Aww.
That's what they smell like.
That's that.
So this reminded me of a rainy day smell. So I guess he got it from me because I'm always saying stuff like that. Okay, so, whoa, this really smells wonderful. And then you just put something on top, and it's going to look beautiful. A little more cheese when it's hot.
Yes, this is turning into
Just
such
around, just like that.
This is firming up real well.
And that's looking really nice. This is exactly what you're looking for. If y'all can see this, let me see, this texture. This is exactly what you're looking for. Can you see it from far away or the camera? And then you put it away so it won't burn. So that's kind of like the texture you're looking for to to have, and that is it. 4 ingredients. Like I said, you can definitely incorporate anything else that you'll like. Any veggies, caramelized onions, that will be good. Maybe a poached egg on top for breakfast or brunch. That would be a great option.
Yes.
What else can you
That
think
would be
of?
delicious because that would add, if it gets hard, it would
Texture,
add
yes.
some nice hot, creaminess to kind of go through and stir it in. That would be very good.
She's
Delicious.
getting really hungry. So that's the texture that you're looking for. Oh man. Well, I've heard the bacon, the turkey bacon has a lots of sodium.
So, I mean, turkey bacon, pork bacon, everything's gonna have fat, sodium. But
Yeah.
for my opinion, the bacon you want to try to find is nitrate-free bacon. It's the nitrates are it's what's found to be the cancer-causing compound in a variety of foods. So nitrates is what you want to watch out for. Not necessarily fat or sodium, but if you're looking for more health as in disease prevention, then of course it's portion control because everything is going to have fat, sodium. It's just about the portion. But as far as bacon and sausage, you always want to look for nitrate-free.
Good information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely better for your health.
Good.
Trader-
Excellent.
Mhm.
Are we ready to try the recipes? Yes, we are.